John Fetterman has emailed his highly engaged supporter list asking them to donate directly to the UAW strike fund. This is solidarity. Last week, I was proud to support the bakers, the confectioners, the tobacco workers, and grain millers, local 374G's Fund for Kellogg striking workers here in PA. Now I am proud to stand in full solidarity with UAW and the 10,000 John Deere workers striking nationwide for a fair contract and better pay. If you're able to, I respectfully ask you to join me in supporting UAW members walking the picket line right now. Will you please chip in $5 or more to UAW's strike fund today? Every dollar in the strike fund goes directly to food and supplies for striking John Deere workers across the country. Look, John Deere is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. The company has already posted historic profits this year of almost $5 billion. But those who create the wealth must share in it. You know, the John Deere workers who help make that possible should be able to live in dignity. They deserve a fair contract and higher wages right now. That's exactly why 10,000 UAW members, mostly in Iowa and Illinois, are walking the picket line as you read this email, and they could really use our help. The Union Way of Life, could you please chip in to UAW Strike Fund as an act of solidarity? Even $5 will help UAW reach its goal of raising $25,000 into the strike fund to support workers. The Union Way of Life is sacred. We should always protect it. Thanks for standing with me. In solidarity, John Fetterman. A Senate candidate, or maybe any politician for that matter, has ever done this. John has done it twice in the past week. He meant never. Unfortunately, we don't have the link. Otherwise I'd spam it for you. But you absolutely love to see it, chat. Now, if you don't know who John Fetterman is, right now, far-right Senator Pat Toomey is retiring from the Senate in Pennsylvania. And so in 2022, Pennsylvania will be the site of the most important Senate race in the country. An opportunity to take the Senate away from people like Sinema and Manchin and into the hands of a way left-wing senator. That's Fetterman. When Fetterman ran as lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania, he did so with the support of Bernie Sanders. All right? And they successfully primaried an establishment Democrat lieutenant governor, and John Fetterman beat him statewide and became the lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania by getting rid of an establishment Democrat because of Bernie Sanders' support. Now John is running for the Senate, another statewide campaign, and he's crushing it. He's winning in the polls by far, by like 30 points. He's got the most money, and he's doing things like the solidarity of the strike fund and showing clearly that he will be a progressive voice. So you go from one of the most far-right people in the entire Senate, the pawn of Wall Street, the president of a group called the Club for Growth, which was a right-wing think tank and lobbying organization. That was Pat Toomey, who's retiring, to possibly having John Fetterman. Queen Kitten says, ready for it, PA proud. Let's hope this Mastro zealot fool stays in Gettysburg Field LARPing Civil War antics. Oh, God. And the Republican is going to be a psychopath. So, oh, yeah, the IATSE stuff. Can we finally get to the union strike stuff? Okay. This is very important. So last night, there was the IATSE announced a deal with Hollywood. So this is the Theatrical Stage Employees Union. The International Association of Theatrical Stage Employees, I believe is what IATSE means. So they're the people that are behind the scenes, you know, the grips, and they do the work on the costumes, and, you know, they basically make the shows that you love to watch work. And the national leadership and the negotiating team announced that they had a deal. And I took a look at the deal, and I got to be honest, I didn't think it was that good. It didn't seem like they were making progress. It seemed like one of those deals where they kind of got very slightly better than what they have now, but not anything that you could really be excited about. And, you know, listen, if that's what the union thinks that's what the best they can do and that's what they want to do, I 100% support them. Who am I? I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about in this industry. However, it looks like a lot of the rank and file agrees with me. And if you don't know this, chat, when there's a union contract, you vote on it. You know, you have the negotiating team, you have the leaders that are, you know, in charge of the union. But then at the end of the day, the deal has to go in front of the union workers and they've got to ratify it. They've got to agree that they're happy with the deal. And if they say this deal ain't good enough, it ain't good. It's not the deal. Many members of IATSE say they will vote against ratifying a new contract with the major studios because it does not do enough to address working conditions on set. The deal, announced Saturday afternoon, averts a strike that would have shut down film and TV production nationwide starting on Monday morning. But in interviews and online chatter, many workers have expressed frustration with the terms, and they expect it will be rejected. This is from IATSE. Here is the landmark tentative agreement reached by IATSE West Coast. So it is achievement of a living wage for the lowest paid members, improved wages and working conditions for streaming, retroactive wage increases of 3% annually. So retroactive is means that you'll get a check for paychecks that you've already gotten. Okay? So like you will get a bonus check of whatever. I don't know how many years they're looking back on. Increased meal period penalties, daily rest periods of 10 hours without exclusions, which basically means you can't be forced to work within 10 hours of your last shift. Weekend rest periods of 54 hours. So a weekend, so that includes 48 hours of Saturday and Sunday plus 6 more hours from Friday. So you get a weekend, basically, an actual weekend. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday holiday added to the schedule, and adoption of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. So, I mean, you know, listen, you know, it's a lot better than what they had, right? Which is they didn't get weekends. Their wages for the lowest were very shit. They're getting a big raise. I think they're getting like a 30% raise when they're working for a streaming company. So that's good. Only 10 hours rest? Yeah. Basically, nothing has changed, says Ernesto Lomley, a director of photography based in Los Angeles. I have not heard a single person saying they will vote yes. Okay, this is not really... Listen. I don't know. Maybe it's going to be rejected. Does anybody know when the vote's going to take place? But I have not heard a single person voting yet. Okay, this doesn't mean shit. Okay, this doesn't mean anything. This is a very annoying thing. Oh, a ratification vote will likely not be held for several weeks, as lawyers will have to translate the deal points into contract language. In the meantime, work will proceed as normal on film and TV sets. The tentative agreement provides a 54-hour weekend and 10-hour turnaround time between shifts for all workers in all productions. Some were hoping for more than 10 hours, as well as other wage and residual provisions that are not in the deal. But they also wanted to make a broader point about conditions on set, which many find to be inhumane and unsustainable. We wanted to send a message that things need to actually change, says Rowan Byers at Dolly Grip and IATSE Local 80. The 10-hour work turnarounds, that's the same shit that's already in my contract. Why would I be excited about that? The International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees represents 60,000 TV and film production workers across the country, including hairstylists, electricians, prop makers, cinematographers, and editors. The union leadership hailed the deal as a landmark agreement on Saturday. Some of the details have not been officially released, and many members contacted Sunday said they would wait for more information before offering an opinion. Others said they've been underwhelmed by what they've seen so far. Overall, it's very disheartening, said Theodore, a gaffer in Local 728. I do think it will be rejected. Membership rallied for an unprecedented strike authorization vote earlier this month, passed with nearly 99% support. That vote became part of a broader narrative of labor unrest this fall, along with strikes at Kellogg and John Deere. Some believe that by not using the authorization, IATSE leadership squandered historic opportunity. I mean, I think, I gotta be honest, I agree with this. Like, if you are the leader of a major union that has, like, never gone on strike, and has 99%, and you have a shitty contract, I think you just gotta strike. I think you just need to turn the screws. You need to get good at it. You need to practice, and you've got to do it. You know, you've got to have that threat. But maybe I'm a little bit too militant. You know, who knows? This is the one time we as organized labor in Hollywood had the ability to take a stand and make a change. We had the potential to shut down production. In general, I feel like our leadership has let us down again. For many outside the union who would have been affected by a strike, the deal was met with relief, but some IATSE members have been looking forward to picketing outside major studios, which would have drawn nationwide media attention to issues like 14-hour workdays on film sets. For years, we've normalized and internalized all these abusive situations, says Ann Fader, assistant production accountant in New Orleans. I almost feel like crew members need a strike to let out all this frustration. Daniel Remillard, an electrician based in New Mexico, said he had not yet decided how he would vote and that he's more open-minded about the agreement than many of his colleagues are. We got a lot of what we asked for and compromised very little, he said. Our initial ask was probably too low, but I disagree that this was a failure. I think this was a very successful round. I'm very much in the minority here. Most of the people are saying this is garbage. Members have been trashing the deal on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, while few, if any, voices have spoken up in favor of the agreement. Part of that, Remillard said, is due to the fever pitch of the last few days. I think emotions are high right now, he said. On Friday, we cleared stages. We said our goodbyes. We shook hands like, see you guys in the brave new world. Now it's see you Monday. Members organize Wildcat walkouts. Uh-oh, spaghetti-o, chat. Uh-oh. Also, bargainers and union reps from the International don't want to strike. They say they don't want the workers to go without a paycheck, but it's also International doesn't want the loss of revenue through union dues. I mean, I'm sure that's in a sense true. 99% voting for a strike means people really wanting extensive change. Now's the time to fight for it, not argue over peanuts. Can you be too militant? No, I was being sarcastic. I don't think you can. Yesterday, the leadership of IATSE announced they had reached a deal. However, it's unclear if membership will vote to reject the deal and strike anyhow. Earlier this month, over 10,000 John Deere workers, members of the UAW, had already decided to strike against the advice of UAW leadership and reject a proposed tentative agreement, inspiring many IATSE members to contemplate a similar course of action. This is a Hollywood ending, said IATSE President Matthew D. Loeb in a press release. We went toe-to-toe with some of the richest and most powerful entertainment and tech companies in the world, and we have now reached an agreement with the AMPTP that meets our members' needs. Here in Hollywood, the talk of a wildcat strike is rife as many work. So wildcat strike means against leadership or against the union or against the law, basically. I can say this for sure. Most people will say they want to strike, but it's usually just them being upset. Most of them don't have the balls to actually strike unless it's so bad, then it's possible. I mean, if everybody's together, then they'll do it. As many workers are leaning against the deal, prominent Instagram account IA Stories, which has over 161,000 followers and is run by a collective of rank-and-file IATSE members, has already weighed in, calling for the union to demand for more. As we understand it, if membership votes no, we can come back to the table with more demands. While the deal does claim to address some issues that we want to change, considering the massive solidarity and momentum that we've already amassed, there's no reason we can't ask for more. Well, the reason that you can't ask for more, to be honest, is if you say no, then the old deal is off the table. So, you know, that's something you have to understand. If you say no to an offer, that offer is off the table. Okay? So if you want to go to a strike, you know, there is a possibility that you get a worse deal. That's just the way it goes sometimes. There you go. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You can't just assume that you're going to definitely win. And if you're willing to risk it, you know, like I would be, then you do it. But you should be aware that that is a reason. Wildcats everywhere, wave your hands in the air. Oh, no. Not if your strike completely cripples production. You own the terms of negotiation in that situation. If the picket holds. If solidarity holds, if replacement workers don't come in, if the union holds strong, if people can afford to wait. Strikes are amazing, but they're also suffering for you. And that is something that people need to understand about them, is it is a real fucking fight. And a lot of people who've never been in a fight don't know what it's like to be punched in the face. And they get hit in the face and they get stunned. As long as you're ready and willing to take that fight, then I will 100% support you. Capitalism sucks from the research I have been doing, at least under current conditions. Is that a wrong assumption?
Mike,
no.
What's your favorite vegetable?
My favorite vegetable. There's so many good ones, you know. I have to tell you that one of my favorite things is a nice roasted Brussels sprout, the balsamic vinegar glaze. I'll take that. But I like a lot of stuff. So good, oh my god. Yeah, if you've never had a roasted Brussels sprout with a balsamic vinegar glaze, then you have never experienced life. Earlier this month, over 10,000 John Deere workers in Iowa, Illinois, and Kansas, members of the UAW, voted to restrict a contract recommended by their union's leadership and are now on strike. Many IATSE members are hoping to do the same as John Deere workers in the Midwest. On Wednesday, workers at Netflix are planning to hold a walkout in LA over the lack of respect that the company has shown to its trans employees. The protest is expected to draw mass support across Hollywood and inspire other similar actions. The fight over whether or not IATSE members will vote to ratify the contract will likely last several weeks. Unlike other unions that present their contracts for a ratification vote within a week or so, IATSE will not present an initial basic agreement contract covering Southern California for a ratification vote until they finish negotiations on an area agreement covering workers based mainly outside of California. In 2018, it took IATSE 2 months after initially agreeing to the initial basic agreement before they completed negotiations on an area agreement and had ratification votes on both. A prolonged wait to ratification could help the union's leadership sell the deal to a skeptical membership, or the lengthy wait could allow rank-and-file workers enough time to vote down the deal and continue to build support for the strike. Workers at John Deere did this after voting down their union leadership's tentative agreement early in October. The deal is likely to prove very controversial. It increases pay by 3% for union members during each year of the contract at a time when inflation is at 4.2%, according to the Federal Reserve. In addition, the deal contains no concessions on healthcare retirement, while film companies have pledged to pay more than $400 million to firm up IATSE's beleaguered pension fund. The tentative agreement would also require streaming services such as Netflix to bring their wage rates closer to the rates paid by traditional studios. In addition, IATSE says the deal would set living wage rates in each city, likely raising wages for many low-wage IATSE workers. However, IATSE did not release the details of how those living wage rates would be calculated or what they would be. A lack of adequate rest period between shifts, a core issue of the proposed strike, has not been addressed. Under the current tentative agreement, workers could still be required to work up to 16 hours a day as long as they are given 10 hours off in between shifts. The contract would require workers who work 6 days in a row to be given a minimum of 54 hours off before being forced to work again. If workers only work 5 days, they would only be given a minimum of 32 hours rest. In addition, the film companies wouldn't be required to give workers time off for lunch, but merely pay increased financial penalties for not giving workers meal break. IATSE officials told Payday that these provisions would provide financial incentives for film companies to give workers meal breaks, but did not release details of how much it would cost film companies to not provide meal breaks. Most glaringly, it would not end the practice of Fraturdays, when film workers are often required to work late Friday into the early hours of Saturday morning. With the lack of rest provisions, many members took to social media to blast the deal. With the first 3 hours of the viral IA Stories account posting the terms of the tentative agreement, there were over 1,000 IATSE members commenting against the proposal. Oh, well, okay. Yeah, that seems to be a little bit more representative to me. We want 12-hour breaks, no more Fraturdays, and shoot days that aren't 16 hours long, wrote IATSE member Natalie Turia on the IA Stories page, in a post representative of many of the workers' demands. For now, in Hollywood, it remains unclear whether or not this deal will pass. However, it does remain clear that this deal will be debated for some time, and the talk of the desire for more strikes, even wildcat strikes, remains high here. Hog, dude. All right. Well, that's going to be a story that we're going to continue to cover. All right, let's see what CNN is saying.
There was a tentative deal on the table between the United Auto Workers and John Deere from 2 weeks ago, but in a vote, members rejected that contract proposal because most didn't think the deal was good enough, and so now they're calling for higher wages. Now, these negotiations are happening at a time when things are going very well for John Deere. Revenue for the first 3 quarters of Deere's fiscal year, they rose to more than $32 billion. Its stock this year is up 22%, so the current financial success at John Deere, that may have led to some union members to believe they deserved an even better package than the one that was rejected.
Nobody ever wants to really go out on strike. They just want a fair shake.
People are finally fed up. They're fed up and they're tired of it. And they're not going to have it anymore. They just want their share of the wealth that they help create for the company.
Now, it's not the only company that's currently striking right now in the U.S. At Kellogg's, the cereal company, 1,400 workers walked off the job on October 5th, so that strike is heading into its second week.
That's pretty based, chat. Pretty fucking based. Workers are saying enough is enough. Non-union workers also hit the bricks. A record 4.3 million workers quit their jobs. Honestly, we should be organizing unions like gangbusters right now. But now that Kellogg is doing well with operating profit for the first half of this year up 9% from the same period in 2019, concessions the union previously agreed to, such as lower pay and benefits for new hires, are no longer acceptable to the membership. What this boils down is that in past negotiations, everybody had been willing to compromise to avoid a fight. They've been bullying us at the table for some time. Now our members are angry at the total disrespect they're continuing to show us. We're digging our feet in. The negotiating team of the United Auto Workers Union reached a tentative contract with Deere 2 weeks ago, which included immediate pay raises of 5% and 6% and improvements in pensions and benefits, but it was not enough to satisfy rank-and-file membership, who were also upset that the continuation of 2 different kinds of pension plans. Strike continued Thursday at 11 Midwest factories and 3 distribution centers after 90% of the membership voted no on the proposed deal. What was on the table wasn't a horrible package, but the rank and file saw this as an opportunity to demand more. Manufacturing in this country has been declining for decades. Employees have worried about automation, jobs moving overseas. Spent rounds after rounds of concessionary bargaining and givebacks. The Deere workers said, not this time. They're making hand-over-fist profits. We want more. I think workers do feel newfound leverage at this moment, especially coming out of the pandemic where they were deemed essential rather than considered expendable, said Tom Schittler, communication director for the AFL-CIO. They're making the decisions they will no longer settle for less. The Bureau of Labor Statistics shows only a dozen strikes through September this year, fewer than in the same period of 2019 ahead of the pandemic. But the BLS counts only strikes with 1,000 or more strikers. Many strikers involve hundreds, not thousands of workers, sometimes even less than 100. Cornell University, however, tracks strikes of all sizes, and its stats show 181 strikes so far this year, with 38 strikes just in the first 2 weeks of October, more than any other month so far this year. The most recent strikes, 22 of which started this month, involved 24,000 workers in total, prompting the AFL-CIO to dub this month Striketober. Just did a quick shop, needed cereal, and Kellogg's was on a sweet deal of like $1.70 a box, still passed it up. Yeah, hell yeah. What are the numbers on Scabs? Obviously, they have people running the Kellogg factory like badly, but it's running, right? I know Scabs crashed a Deere tractor. Do we ever know like how Scabs compare? Read the bottom line. Typically, they produce pretty damn poorly. Average production rates drop by like 50%. But the goal of the Scab and replacement workforce is not to get to the same level of production they would when the workers that actually are trained and experienced are there. The purpose is to make the company some money so that they can put the economic coercion on the workers and hope some of them crack because they need money for their kids or their housing or whatever. And that's why they use the scab labor. It's just to get some money coming in. No one likes to strike. Let's be clear, Liz Schuler, the new president of AFL-CIO, the federation of most of the nation's major unions, told CNN. Strikes occur only when we are pushed to a limit where basic fairness and equity are violated. You can't just continue to see wages go down, healthcare benefits taken away, retirement security disappear without saying enough is enough. And that's where we are. We're at a breaking point. Much of the harder line by labor is coming from the rank and file than from union leadership, says Cornell University's Colvin. There's definitely more labor militancy in the air, he said. There's higher expectations. There's a willingness to not settle for what happened in the past. A recent Gallup poll showed 68% of respondents have a positive view of unions, the best reading on the question since 1965, and up from only 48% in 2009. Barack Obama is so dog shit. What a loser, man. When hospital workers strike, they pay the scabs like 500x the hourly rate of the striking nurses. Really? That's amazing. Younger workers are even bigger backers of union, with 77% of those 34 and younger having a positive view. But union membership nationwide is down to only 6% of workers at businesses, limiting their clout in most industries. The highest profile organizing effort of the past year at an Amazon warehouse in Alabama failed badly, and there's little chance a union effort to change laws governing organizing will pass anytime soon. Yeah, why would that pass with the Democrats in control of the Senate and the House and the presidency? Why would they pass laws to make unions stronger and therefore the Democratic Party stronger and workers better off? God forbid they do the thing that is the best at undermining income inequality. Why would we want to do that, chat? Why would we want to do? Even so, the current situation is a recipe for long-lasting change, says Vakun, the Rutgers professor. I can't predict what will happen, but the pieces are there for that to be a reality. The PRO Act is still in the reconciliation bill, parts of it. And the PRO Act was already kind of watered down from other bills in the past. But it's still better than, nothing, I guess. Fucking pieces of shit. All right, chat.